What's happening here is that we have our players who are taking up the role of students at our magical college, and so in addition to going to classes, they're also finding projects to complete. They're doing homework. They are debating with each other some of the things that college students debate about in their normal lives, about politics, about privilege, about capitalism, about power, about authority, about rebellion, about revolution, and they are also finding adventures, as we have a magical world here, so they are encountering mysterious creatures out on the campus and in the forest. They are discovering conspiracies that they have to figure out where they stand on. They're dealing with extremism, they're dealing with human rights, and they're also dealing with the other things that college students deal with. They are trying to figure out who they want to date, what kind of person they want to be in this imagined role in that time of their lives where they're thinking about their future and all the big important decisions that a person makes in college that affects them for their entire lives.
My LARP experience was life-changing. I played a character that was very focused on social justice and very focused on changing the world, and sort of encapsulated really sort of like the college spirit that everyone has when they're young and they're full of energy and they're excited to change the world, and really just amped that up to 11. He was also a vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian, but for this game I decided that I would try for the weekend to be a vegetarian, and I did that. And I did all of this social justice stuff, and I talked about it all of the time, and I changed people's minds all of the time, and I got laws changed. So my character was Hamilton. I am Harrison. Harrison is a social justice advocate. So I'm all about social justice. I support people that focus on social justice. I encourage them, but I'm not an activist. Yet. And I'm not a vegetarian. Yet. Because through this LARP, I was able to see that even though it's a character, I was the one sort of steering that character. I was the one behind the wheel. So Harrison is capable of all of those things. It's very draining. I'm exhausted, and I loved every moment of it. I really think that this LARP can change people's minds on really important issues because it frames them in a way that you can talk about them from some distance, and it frames them in a way that you can really interact with them in a fun way where people's like knee-jerk responses don't kick in, and they can safely talk about these things with people that will discuss them with them and not hate them for the rest of their lives because their opinion is different, which unfortunately is something that happens. I had an amazing roller coaster of emotions, and if I could stay and do it again, even though I am so exhausted, I absolutely would do it again at the drop of a hat.
It really means to me to be able to explore parts of my personality that I can't get out at work, and to explore different worlds and put myself in somebody else's shoes. So I can understand pain that people might be going through, or happiness and success. I mean, our regular lives can get very 9 to 5, in and out of work. Everything is very mundane, and it's hard to get highs and lows when you've got a very settled regular life. So when we can come into LARP and we can work hard for things and experience those victories, and sometimes experience those failures, it can be really glorious, and it's very cathartic. You can't cry in the middle of your office, or you probably shouldn't, but I can come here and experience this tragedy and get out these emotions that you just bottle in every single day and walk away feeling cleansed and cleaner for it.
LARP, for me, I guess it's like accessing that part of the brain a lot of people have turned off after childhood, where you just let go and have fun and be in the moment playing a game with wonderful people and knowing that there's no full consequence to your actions. I like trying to come at a role to explore different personality aspects of myself. I usually try to exaggerate or intensify certain elements I either really love or loathe about myself, and it helps you come to terms, especially with those feelings of loathing, and understand yourself better.
Live action role playing for me is an experience to leave your day-to-day life. So if work's really busy for you, school's really busy, you can go out and just be someone else. When I'm LARPing in Connecticut, I'm Sebastian, I'm a thief, I'm a pirate. Here, I was a healer. I'm just someone who I'm not normally. It's a good way to just relax. It's a way to have fun. The thing I liked the most was the debates we had in classes. So I was a healer, and I got to have ethical debates with people. And it was interesting, while they may not be people's actual viewpoints, it was interesting having to argue back and forth viewpoints that may not be your own.
Mainly how easy everything flowed together. There were at least 2 incidents of like magic rituals I had to do, and they occurred from me just walking and talking to people I thought were normal, and I would be handed something, and it was really easy to bring other people into the interactions or jump to other people's interactions. So it just felt more organic and natural to set up storylines or join them or resolve them.
For me, LARP is interesting because it's a way of personalizing an experience that where the stakes are actually low. You can practice. You want to lie to someone, you don't say, "Oh, I'm going to roll a lie check." You go up and you lie to them. You get to practice all these things, knowing that at the end of the day, nothing is going to stick with you. You haven't actually killed anyone. You haven't actually broken anyone's lives. But you can practice flirting or dancing or things that you would say, "Oh, I couldn't possibly do this in real life." Well, here you can, and it's not real life, but when you get into it, it gets into you.
You can test out different aspects or different personalities and different combinations and see what works best for you as a person and as a player. And hopefully you learn from those experiences and learn what you liked about certain emotional reactions and certain aspects of your personality, and pick and choose and see what you can bring back with you afterwards. The people change. I love seeing the same players play different roles, and seeing players that had previously played these students that were there and kind of in the background, all of a sudden be professors and command authority as soon as they walk into a classroom.
It was important to us that we create both a magical universe and a play community that was diverse, inclusive, and safe for those to play in. And it was important that this world both represented and embodied various cultures, various bodies, various genders, various myths, various stories, and have them all come together into a place where we can learn from each other and where none is privileged higher than the other.
It's a school, but it's mimicking Harry Potter, so it's a little bit high school. That could have easily devolved into backstabbing and a lot of the things that I didn't like growing up in high school, but it didn't. I think New World Magischola, what makes it really unique from many of the other games that I've read, and I've read hundreds of games, is that the foundation of the mechanics is built on a culture of care. There are so many places in the world book that mention checking in with other people and being consent forward. And that sort of permeated to the fiction itself. Everybody in the fiction, even the people who were dastardly villains in their own right, were playing these characters that were interacting with people through care. If there was any character who was emoting in any way, your first instinct was to go over to them, and that's because of the way the game was designed.
Somebody asked me, well, how could you keep going? You were moving 17, 18 hours a day, constantly in character, and I said, what got me going were the moments in which people confided in how a scene or an interaction affected them. I had one person who was in a scene that I was witnessing, and they were being picked on. And the person pounded their fist into the table and said, that's enough. I will not be made fun of, and I will be treated like an equal. And I caught on that they wanted a moment of standing up for themselves. So as the chancellor, I said, all right, everybody stop. Do you really feel this way? And he said, yes, I really do. And I said, well, then on behalf of all of us, I apologize. I thought we were all being in good fun. And he gets this look of surprise, and he says, thank you. And the scene goes on. I leave the room to go take care of something else, and he chases me out, and he says, can we talk? And I said, certainly. What can I talk about with you? And the player says, no, can I talk to Derek? And I said, oh, my goodness. And immediately our reaction is to say, hey, is everything okay? And he says, no, everything's fine. I apologize for having gotten aggressive in there and angry. And I said, no, it was part of the scene. And then he starts crying. And I said, what's the matter? And he says, that was the first time in my life that I ever stood up for myself or anything. And I started crying because that was just so touching that I got to be a part of that person's personal metamorphosis in the safety of a LARP setting where we know we can trust everybody around us. And he said, "Can I have a hug?" And I just held him for about 2 minutes, and we just cried. And he just said, I feel like a different person now. And I said, thank you for that. And he went on to have a fantastic rest of the event with that confidence. That kind of interaction happened easily 15 times where somebody said, I just had a personal transformation because of a scene. That's what keeps me going, that we will all come out of this experience better.